Yeah. How did your parents handle their children being ambushed by grown men with cameras?
I mean, they hated it, but it is like, too, you have to remember, we're like a family from a small town. We don't know what the hell we're doing. And I say we as in, like, I was a baby. But
Yeah.
I'd imagine that nobody knew, is this part of the thing? Is this part of the job? You don't really know how to handle it. But I think that the whole paparazzi culture really started, I would say, probably as Britney was going to the height of her, during that whole pop culture, when it was like the big online blogs and the paparazzi. It was unbearable.
When you were 11, you began your acting career on the cast of All That. Also at 11 years old, you write about noticing a shift in Britney's personality. You write in the book, Britney was showing signs of a debilitating exhaustion. Britney was changing in front of my eyes. I was still too young to comprehend her struggles, but I was old enough to recognize destructive behaviors similar to our father's. Something was different with my sister, but I didn't have the courage to speak out. When you say she was changing in front of your eyes, what were those changes?
She was wanting to escape us a little bit more. And when I say us, I mean like my family, which is normal. She was that age. She should go out and go do stuff with a friend. So I remember kind of it, as I got older, being explained, it's like, she's going through a party stage or whatever it is,
Right.
And that's fine. She should, whatever. I just remember feeling like selfishly, like I was like her center of the universe, maybe like her daughter, her kid, or whatever you want to call it. And I thought it would always be that way.
Right.
And then I just felt like things just were uneasy. It wasn't that way as much anymore.
Then you also write about a specific episode you reveal in the book, which was pretty terrifying to read about. You write,
apparently everybody, I know what you're about to say, and apparently everybody finds this terrifying.
I mean, it's heavy.
You go ahead and read it though, because like I read it though. You see.
Okay. You write, Britney said to me, "Baby, I'm scared." And she took a large knife from the kitchen, pulled me along to my room, and locked us both inside. She put the knife in the bedside table drawer and simply repeated, "I'm scared." She needed me to sleep beside her. I knew something was wrong, and I was powerless to do anything about it. Why was your sister scared in that moment?
I don't know. I don't know, but I know that I was like very young. And I know that this has come right after the whole marriage in Vegas and stuff.
Okay.
And again, I think that people need to remember, I'm telling this story about what I experienced, no matter who that person was that pulled me into the room. You have to understand, like, that was an experience I went through, and it was really scary. I felt really unsafe. I think it's important that I say that because I didn't understand it. I was a kid. I just knew I felt really scared. And especially from somebody that, like, when I'm scared, I run to you. Why am I now scared with you? And I think that there's probably a lot of other young people who probably, or just any situation, who feel that way. And I never said anything because I said it to people around me. But I guess, like, even when you read it to me, and people seem to keep bringing that up, I think I've learned how to, like, because I was not allowed to have feelings about anything, like, shut up, like, that's fine, like, whatever, we're not going to make a big deal out of this, that I started to really not make a big deal out of things. And so when I say it more casually, and people are like, no, that's really fucked up, like, that's not normal. I now am starting to, like, come to terms with that as I share. Yeah. And that's something that I have to, like, kind of acknowledge, I guess, that, like, yeah, that was really scary and I hated that happened, but also, like, she must have been in pain too, but I was a kid, like, I didn't know what to do.
How did your parents react that your sister, who was kind of an authority figure in your life, trapped you in a room with a knife with her and was, like, saying she was scared? What did your parents say?
I never felt like she was scared away, like she was gonna, like, harm me or anything, but it just felt like a weird, it just felt weird.
That's scary.
Honestly. And I didn't understand it, and I told them about it, and they were all having conversations about, like, how things did seem odd. Obviously, from what I could tell, when your parents are, like, all, like, kind of, like, but it wasn't just my parents, it was, like, her whole team, I guess, essentially. Right. I don't really know, because, again, like, I was more concerned about my fucking Sophie shorts, but at the same time, I told them, they asked me to come in there and tell this therapist about it, and I did. And then I never heard anything else about it. So then I was like, okay, I guess that's just a thing that happened.
Now having the space and time since that moment, what do you think was going on there?
I think that this was a brilliant young woman who was going through a hard time, and if she couldn't stand up for herself, then somebody should have. I wasn't an adult then. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Somebody should have said, stop the fucking presses. Give this girl a fucking minute.
I mean, I think now as a mother, like, imagine if your younger daughter came to you and said, Mom, my older sister locked me in the room with a knife. Like, yeah, it's like, what would you do?
We're going to take a minute, I think, right? I have daughters, and they're the same age difference as me and my sister. And I look at it, and I'm like, how would I handle this?
Yeah.
And God forbid I ever have to handle something like this. I think that first off, I would have valued my younger one for coming to me with this and realized that she might need some help walking through this. And we might need to also shield her a little bit from this because she doesn't understand it, but it might later on affect her. And then I would hopefully take my older daughter and figure out how I can help her work through whatever it is she's working through. Because guess what? The biggest point is that that's okay. Why is that not okay to say, I need to fucking take a minute and I need to do what's good for my well-being and everyone else's well-being? And maybe that would have, made a big difference for me, even my sister, I just hope that by normalizing the fact that it's okay, like we're not okay or things suck or whatever.
Yeah. So you went, like, you had to sit down with a therapist and then you never heard of it again. And so clearly there was a lack of intervention, but again, that's not on you. You're like 11 years old at the point.
Yeah. Then we just kind of like, that just really not really was ever really spoke of again.
Yeah.
So I just kind of was like, okay, maybe you just think, oh, my parents got it. But I still was like uneasy. But then I just thought, like, in a kid, you just don't understand how like things don't just, that kind of thing doesn't just magically get better.
No.
So I didn't understand.
I want to kind of go back to another scary moment you recount in the book, an incident you describe having with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
You write, we would lash out at each other. It all came to a head one day when my mom was emotionally strained and she snapped. She started hitting me with a large beaded purse that had a camera inside. She repeatedly swung the bag and landed several blows on my shoulders before she stopped. I ran to the shopping center next door to where we lived. I used a payphone to call my brother, Brian. Mom was going crazy. You stopped the story there. What did Brian say when you told him that your mom was beating you?
Well, again, I didn't really look at it like that. Like, I will say I was particularly an exceptional asshole to my mother a lot. And I do regret a lot of things that I probably could have done better to her.
But you do know that.
Yeah.
Regardless of being an asshole.
Yeah, I know. But I just was like, I just didn't understand. The only reason I was being mean to her is because I just wanted her to stand up for me or stand up for herself. And I think that just became all too much. And I called my brother, and of course, like, I'd go stay with my brother a good bit when he was in LA. And so I can't remember if he came and got me. And you have to understand that these are just like moments and incidences in my life that are just like kind of like blimps on like my story. So that wasn't something that, like, I'd go stay with my brother when I felt like I just didn't want to be around my mom anymore or whatever else. And I did feel bad for how I treated my mama, and like, and that's very unlike my mom, I will say. That's why I was just like, I needed to get away from her, but I need to get away from her for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Did anything happen? Like, did anyone find out?
I never really told anybody that happened, but like now me and my mom, like we obviously have talked about that.
Yeah.
I told her I'm sharing that, and
you write about in the book that the makeup artist saw the bruises on your neck.
I guess, like, I mean, there's just no other, I mean, yeah, he knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's hard for me to even, like, say those things, but, like,
I'm sure through time, like, you've started to sort of see how that's not okay.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, what I wish people would understand. Like, I'm still, like, in real time, like, sharing these things, and, like, they're not easy for me. They're not easy for, I'm sure, like,
anyone.
it's hurtful for me to work through this. So sometimes I think I don't say it right, or I don't know how to say it because it's still painful. I'm still processing it. But part of the main steps is like actually saying it out loud, I guess. And so I'm trying to think in hindsight also, like how I felt then and how I feel now. And I just think that like I just think that I want to protect everybody. I've got to stop doing that. It's a bad habit. I can't diminish my experiences, no matter whether it was my mother, my sister, my brother,
Yeah.
if it was Joe Blow off the street.
Yeah.
I have to respect my experiences. And I guess I just don't know how to do that because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And I don't want to I don't know. I'd rather be in pain than cause pain. I don't want to pass on these patterns. I'm sure my kids will tell me all the ways I F them up when they're older. That's our job. Like, it's
Right,
like, how many ways can a parent do this? But at the end of the day, I have to use my voice or else I'm not going to teach my children to do it.